And now, here's the American lawyer the world can't live without, Karl Rominger.
Country Gold Radio now invites you to stay tuned for a weekend appointment with attorney Karl Rominger.
All advice given is for general information purposes. All legal cases are different, and you should seek the advice of your own attorney before acting or making decisions. No attorney-client privilege applies to communications on this show, and no attorney-client relationship is created by calling or writing in. Attorney Rominger practices only in Pennsylvania and maintains his primary office in Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. Oh, I'm going to have Bill Bennett, Public Adjuster, on. Bill, do I have you floating around here, Bill?
Yes.
All right. Well, first of all, let me just remind people the talk line number, the main one, is 243-1200. That's 717-243-1200. And they have an 800 number around here. It's 866-532-9466. And, of course, I got the one talk number, which I'll give you a little later. But go ahead and call in if you want to talk about anything. Again, was that 243-1200? Yeah,
697-4297 and 866-532-9466. And we need to remind folks that this, as we speak, is a live program. This is not pre-recorded.
Yes, I know. Remember, guys, everybody listen to this in what we call reruns or best of for so long.
It's a good thing we're not on camera, though. We both look like we just came out of the gym.
Well, it's what happens when you have a show this early in the morning. All right, Bill, so you're a public adjuster. Can you tell everybody what that is?
Public adjuster is licensed by the insurance commissioner to represent homeowners when they have an insurance claim. Most people call their agent, who sends them over to the claims department. The insurance company sends out an adjuster to assess the damage and make an offer of payment so that the homeowner can get it repaired. If the homeowner is not familiar with contract language of the policy, or they're not familiar with construction methods and what's involved, very often they wind up settling for 15 to 20 cents, 25 cents on the dollar, just from their lack of knowledge. That number was taken from a Smart Money magazine expose a few years back. OPAGA is the Florida State Oversight Commission. In 2007, they did a review of the payouts and claims. In 2005, they used that as a base year. And in that report, it came out that people who use public adjusters wound up settling their claims at 500 to 700% more than people who didn't. In the cities, most people know who we are and what we do. But out in central Pennsylvania, we're kind of a kept secret. And I really appreciate you giving me some time on the air to try and get that secret out a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. As a lawyer, I get to, know the mystic powers of the law and shepherd people through legal questions. And when they come in to me, they quite often don't have any idea how the law works. You get to, obviously, as any professional does, interface with the law in the area where you do. But I try to explain to people that the key to you is you're the master of the facts and the technique for presenting a claim. And the thing is it's just sort of like a legal problem. Most people only have one or two in their life. Most people are only going to have one catastrophic insurance loss or even less than catastrophic, but still substantial insurance loss. So they don't have any practice in getting it right. It's not like changing your oil where if you do it 10 times, you might get really efficient at it. You got one shot to do it, and there's a lot of money on the line. So I know I've referred a few people to you over the years, or just to public adjusters in general before I even knew you, to tell people, hey, this guy knows how to do this. So give us an example of what you do.
One of the things that I do that is a fun part of my job is I sit down with homeowners. I look at their home, and I look at their policy, and I do a policy evaluation. And I look for shortcomings in the policy. People have a sump pump, but they don't have a sump pump endorsement If the sump pump fails for any reason, they have no coverage. If they have a finished basement, they can lose a substantial amount of money. Tens of thousands of dollars easily gone because they didn't know. That service is complimentary. There is never a charge for that type of a review or a consultation. When I get involved where I am being compensated, it's when people have a claim. Over the past few weeks, there's been a number of frozen pipes. And frozen pipes, we have one at a church where there's in the range of $80,000 to $90,000 worth of damage. The insurance company's initial offer was $10,000. That
Okay.
could be negotiated, and we're in the active process of negotiating. We're confident we'll get the amount of money needed to bring back the building back to fire to lost condition. If it was up to the committee involved, it's good luck.
So, and of course, right now there is a lot going on with the pipes. Now, do you get into arguments with the insurance company about causation and whether something's covered or not quite frequently?
About 50% of the time, there's questions that have to be answered. Typically, several of the companies want a sworn deposition by the clients, and that's typically tape recorded. When that happens, we're present to make sure that the questions maintain a reasonable track. As with any area, questions can be made leading, and people tend to think, this is my insurance company. I've been paying them for 20 years. Of course they're going to take care of me. And they make statements that are not in their best interests. We had one a couple of years ago where there was a fire in the kitchen, and the house was completely covered with smoke. Every room had thick smoke in it on the walls and the furniture and such. And we were in the process of moving the people into another home under their additional living expenses. The insurance adjuster came in, looked around, and said, this isn't really that bad. You could live here, couldn't you? And the homeowner, being a nice guy with a little bit of compliance, trying to help out, was about to say, yeah, I probably could live here. We stepped in between them and said, no, this is not a healthy environment. There's children involved. They need sufficient living expenses to get another home while this is being cleaned up. It's honest things like that people do, but they can cost them a lot of things that are covered, and we kind of get in the middle of it and mediate on that.
Now, I also know, and I think maybe you and I had this conversation once before, but there apparently are, if I'm a homeowner and I'm trying to make my own insurance claim, which I again, probably should be talking to you first, and we'll come back to what it costs to hire somebody like you, but my understanding is there's certain magic words. So if I don't use the right magic words when I bring my insurance claim, the insurance company isn't under any duty to investigate further. And so if I say the wrong thing, I may cause them to say there's no coverage legitimately because I haven't made them aware of something that would trigger coverage. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. One of the common ones is a homeowner will call up their agent and say, my basement's flooding. And the agent will quite honestly say, I'm sorry, you don't have flood insurance. And they'll close the claim. What the homeowner really meant to say was, I had an accidental discharge of water. That's the terminology in the contract. When a pipe breaks, there's a freeze, water heater lets go, any of those types of things are covered losses under most homeowner policies, and they're not considered flood. But if you use the magic word flood, you have just let the insurance company off. And according to the contract and the claims process, if a couple of days later you realize your mistake and you call the agent back up and say, I made a mistake. It's not really flooded. I had a broken pipe, put water in my basement.
Mm-hmm.
I already closed that claim. And as a homeowner, you cannot reopen it. As a public adjuster or an attorney, you can reopen it. So there's times when they absolutely have to use us because, according to the contract that they've signed, or that they've paid for, they have no other option.
It's very interesting, and that's kind of why I like to bring you on. And I know we did this a couple of years ago, and I want to remind people. So the idea is, if you're out there and you're sitting around and you have an insurance claim, and here's the thing: everybody, I remember, just what drives me nutty. I remember a guy who wrote a letter, and I saw this letter because he was being criminally prosecuted. It wasn't my case, but I happened to be up in the courthouse, and they brought out this giant letter to show the jury. A guy had gotten a DUI and wrapped his car around a pole and got injured very badly, and he wanted to sue a bar for over-serving him, which apparently they had done. But he wrote a letter to the insurance company that basically said, hey, before I go get a lawyer and get one of those guys any of this money, just give me $10,000 and we'll settle it because your bartender served me until I was way too drunk and blah, blah, blah. So, of course, in his criminal trial, he's trying to argue he wasn't drunk. But, of course, he wrote a letter to the insurance adjuster saying he was drunk. Hence, the district attorney brought it along. But my favorite part is because I talked to the DA, and they said, yeah, the insurance adjuster was laughing about it, too, because they had set aside the policy limit and were going to be prepared to pay him $250,000. But when he wrote the letter and asked for $10,000, they gladly sent him a check. But I liked the part where he had the reference in there about cutting the lawyers out because they were just going to steal everybody's money. And reality was he had no idea the value of his claim and what they were willing to pay. And so he undervalued it. And that, to me, is the biggest thing. Like you said, people don't get what they want. And a lot of times it's because the insurance company doesn't have to do anything nefarious. Not that they won't. I mean, so we all know that they might cut the edges if they can get away with it. But they don't have to most of the time because the homeowners, frankly, come up with such a low number.
Yep. Basically, the burden of proof is on the homeowner. And they will do things like they'll get 3 estimates from contractors who are all competing against each other for lowball bids. Corners wind up getting cut. When I use a public adjuster, we go in and we assess all the damage. We put it into the program called Xactimate, which is the same program the insurance companies use. We put everything in, including what would be, by most homeowners, perceived as hit damage. And we show that to the insurance company. Say, this is the damage that we found. Prove me wrong. Then the burden shifts from the homeowner to the insurance company, and they have to technically prove everything wrong. We've had homeowners who have had roof leaks, and the ceiling in the bedroom underneath the roof is stained. The insurance company will come in, and they'll say, okay, you need a couple of shingles and a little bit of spot painting and with a sealer, and then paint the ceiling. Absolutely nothing about the insulation in between. They don't do a brittleness test on the roof. Why did that shingle come out? We have methods of testing the roof to see if the roof is repairable or not. In a lot of instances, we'll get the entire roof replaced, the wet insulation taken care of. Instead of spot painting with 3-in-1 sealer, we'll remove the damaged drywall, patch it, and put a couple of coats of paint on the ceiling. The difference can be the adjuster saying, well, the patchwork that we're recommending doesn't make you deductible to getting a $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 check to replace the roof and do the patch properly. Right.
That's interesting. You know, one of the other ones I was saying when we were getting ready for the show this morning, I was kind of explaining what you do, and I said one of my favorite ones is, like, take a kitchen, for example. Say there's a fire and all the contents are destroyed. The average person, when asked to list what they had in their kitchen and, you know, for replacement, will come up with, okay, I had a blender, I think I had a hand mixer, I think I had, but they can't come up with a very comprehensive list of everything that's actually in their kitchen. And if they don't put it on the paper and don't put a value on it, they're not going to get reimbursed for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to stress to all my clients to take a camera, go into every room, stand in the corner, facing into the room, take pictures of everything, open up all your cabinets, open up all your drawers, do a photographic inventory so that if something happens, we can reconstruct your contents. During my training a few years back, I was given a homework assignment of inventorying my kitchen. And I basically asked the instructor, any other room, please. And he said, kitchen. I found I had $1,800 worth of spices on one shelf in the cabinet. Cream of tartar is about $5 for a little half-ounce bottle. When you add all that stuff up, it becomes phenomenal. And if you don't have proof that you had something and it's gone, it's gone. The proof is on the homeowner.
That's interesting. We got to take a break here in a second. And when we do, I've got another caller. I'm not sure we're going to be able to patch the two of you together or not, so we may have to take him separately. But after the break, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that, because that is interesting. You think about spices, right? You're right. When you said that, I think you go to the store and you go, well, I need some cumin, and that you can buy the big tub of cumin for $8, or you can buy the little bottle of cumin for $3. And most of us have the little bottles, not the big tubs.
Yep.
All right, after the break, we'll be back. We're talking to Bill Bennett, who's a public insurance adjuster. Get your questions ready, 243-1200.
Celebrate President's Day with the freedom of choice at Rent-A-Center. Right now, you can take home name brand big screen smart LED TVs, washer and dryer pairs, even laptops and tablets. Your choice for one low price with no credit check. Hurry into Rent-A-Center now through February 22nd for the President's Day sale and get big brands for small payments with no credit check. Only at Rent-A-Center, where you're free to choose. Rental purchase lease transaction offer expires February 22nd, 2014. See store for details.
I had crunchy Belvita breakfast biscuits this morning. Then what did I do? Made my bed, fed my fish, got dressed, cleaned the dish, remembered to floss, but still didn't do it. Ran a lap on the track, dropped my phone, didn't crack, got in before the boss, made sure that he knew it. Just getting in, huh?
Crunchy Belvita breakfast biscuits are made with delicious ingredients and carefully baked to release steady energy all morning long. Share your morning win. Belvita.
Morning win.
How well do you know your country music? Be listening weekday mornings with Craig Sr. and afternoons with me, Ray Thomas, for the day's Country Gold Dunkin' Donuts Forgotten 45. When we announce it and play the song, just be the first caller to correctly identify it by title and artist. You'll win a delicious dozen fresh, tasty Dunkin' Donuts from their Carlisle location.
Hungry for a great breakfast sandwich, donuts, bagels, flaky croissants, and the world's best coffee? Then make a beeline for your friendly Carlisle Dunkin' Donuts on East High Street. For years, Dunkin' Donuts has been famous for the world's freshest, tastiest donuts. They now feature bagel and croissant breakfast sandwiches, espresso, iced coffee, and much more. Stop in for a box of donuts and coffee for the office. America runs on Dunkin'.
Get set to identify the Dunkin' Donuts Forgotten 45s. Weekdays from Country Gold Radio and your Dunkin' Donuts at 402 East High Street, Carlisle.
It's Motorama time. Coming to the Pennsylvania State Farm Show Complex February 15th and 16th. Enjoy live high-flying arena cross, midget, go-kart, and remote control racing. See hundreds of classic customs to modern-day tuners in the Rod Custom and Tuner Show. See dirt track, off-road, and drag racing vehicles in the Speed Show. Shop at more than 100 vendors supplying the latest in motorsport gear, accessories, and collectibles. Don't miss the 40 beautiful ladies competing for the title of Miss Motorama. Meet wrestling greats Andrew Anderson, Greg Valentine, Ron Simmons, and Tito Santana. Meet pastime host Brett Wagner. Take a seat in the Back to the Future DeLorean, the Batmobile, and the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. Showtimes Saturday morning 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. in the evening, and Sunday 9 till 5. It's all waiting for you at Motorama 2014. Over 1 million square feet of indoor motorsports action, all for one low admission price. Again, coming your way February 15th and the 16th. For more information, go to MotoramaEvents.com. Brought to you in part by the United States Air Force.
All right, we're back. Bill, have I still got you, Bill?
I'm not easy to get rid of.
Yeah, it's good. All right, now we're going to be joined by Dave Nesbitt here for a second. So let's see, he's on 6. So hit 6. Dave, you got you?
You do.
And Bill, you're still here?
Yes.
All right, see, I got it. I conference people. I knew I could teach this radio station a new trick. Ha-ha.
Well, Karl,
yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Master of technology.
Well, I said we got to figure this out. We'll get this done because, again, in defense of the radio station, this is the first time they've had like a live talk format station like this. So we're working out the kinks, and they got a really cool phone setup. It just took a little while to figure out how to do it.
I'm not a smart man.
I'm not a smart man. Well. Yeah, we got to figure it out. That's cool because now we can do this because that way the guests and the callers can all get together. So now, next question. Bill, I've got Dave Nesbitt on, so let's find out what Dave's up to. Dave runs Keystone Elder Law over in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. What's going on, Dave?
Well, Karl, I just thought I'd call in first off and congratulate you on your new format. You probably know we've started to do some advertising on WIOO. And we've begun to do seminars also in the Carlisle area. We've been doing the free seminars in the Mechanicsburg area at the Ross Moines Business Center for a couple years, but we did our first seminar in Carlisle in January, and we're going to be doing them, I'll say, in odd months, meaning, the months that are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. The other exciting news is that we've just opened up an office in Carlisle that will be staffed by appointment only on Brookwood Avenue. So we've done that because some of our referral sources have indicated that our clients, most of whom are older, find it to be inconvenient to travel all the way from Carlisle to Mechanicsburg. Mm-hmm. So we've overcome that objection. So we're very happy about that.
And I'm going to... It's easy to make fun of that, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but, you can't drive that far. But if your target market, as it is servicing people, elder law, who may have either physical infirmities or it just takes so long, they're much slower and takes longer to get around, or who, frankly, just don't generally travel far because they haven't needed to in a long time and aren't really comfortable just going out on their own a long distance. Take them out of their comfort zone. It makes perfect sense, and actually, it's a good service because there are a lot of people who don't go get the services they need from whoever it is because they either can't get out or it's just too far for them to travel, either because they're elderly or simply because reliable transportation comes into play quite often too.
Well, you're right, and because of the location we chose, if you will, on the south end of Carlisle, we've tried to make it convenient for people from Shippensburg to hop up and see us as well.
And what I would say is you're close to the hospital too, which means you're
we are
in the general nexus of where people probably are already comfortable going at as it is.
I wouldn't use the word comfortable in hospital, not any disrespect to Carlisle Regional, but normally we don't think of those two things together. But we're also near a large number of nursing facilities that are in the Carlisle area. So that's new for us.
So that's very exciting. Now, if you want to make sure you keep us updated on when your next seminar is, we'll make sure we get the word out, too, because I know a lot of people to your seminars, and I've heard nothing but good things.
Well, thank you. I'll pull one up on the calendar because we do have one coming now. Our next one, because this is an even month, is not in Carlisle. Our next one will be in Mechanicsburg, and it is scheduled for February 20th, which is a Thursday, and we offer them at 10, 2, and 7 p.m., and the seminars typically run 1 hour, and we linger a little bit because we like to talk, and we take on a couple of personal questions from clients after the seminar. And then our next seminar in Carlisle, which hopefully will be, in fact, I think I'm scheduled to come be a visitor before that one. But that next seminar is going to be on March 13th in Carlisle.
Okay. And we'll get the calendar. Now, I've been talking with Bill Bennett, who's a public adjuster, and I know besides doing elder law, you have this wonderful background in real estate we've talked about before. But we were just talking about, and he cited an interesting study from 2005. They took a year of claims, and they found that the average person who brought their own insurance claim for homeowners claim got about 20 cents on the dollar versus what they should have gotten. And then on average, with the assistance of a public adjuster, they did about 5 times better, which means if I'm doing the math on that, if you're at about 20% and on average you're doing about 5 times better, you're getting what you're supposed to get.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, and I say that as I'm a licensed insurance producer, not of property and casualty, but of life and health. So I have a similar perspective of insurance from that area. And I say this not with cynicism or disregard to insurance, but I think it's important to understand that insurance companies make money 2 ways. One is by selling policies, and the other is by denying marginal claims or taking the gray area of a claim. And to not recognize that is just to be a little bit naive and foolish. There are certainly good people in insurance companies, and it's a great and necessary service. But to have a professional who's able to take the gray area and present a claim in the best possible light is certainly appropriate, and I encounter that, for example, with long-term insurance claims.
It's interesting. Well, if you want to weigh in anytime, you know the number. And,
I do.
We appreciate it.
And I look forward to more discussion here about insurance claims and how Bill and his firm can get the most of it.
All right, take care.
Okay, take care.
All right, we have another caller. Who have we got here? It's Brian.
Yes, how are you doing,
Mechanicsburg.
Karl? I have a question. I'm holding an order from the Superior Court on an appeal.
Okay.
And it's allowing 14 days to show cause why the appeal should not be quashed. And it refers to judgment has not been entered on the trial court docket.
Yeah, so you must have filed a civil appeal from an action, okay? Somebody filed an appeal from the trial court. And but you didn't enter judgment on the trial docket, I'll bet. So were you the plaintiff or the defendant?
The plaintiff. Okay,
so the plaintiff, and you got kicked out. You needed to press a P, or you need to press. You can still remedy it. You have to go to the trial court, and you have to file a motion, basically, to enter judgment against yourself and in favor of the other guy. Kind of counterintuitive, but you can't appeal from the civil docket unless there's a judgment on there.
Okay, actually, it calls for the defendant to make a payment to me, but I'm appealing the amount and the circumstances that led up to that.
Okay, so you won partially, right?
Right, but not adequately.
But not what you want now. I'm slowing you down here. You still have to enter judgment. I don't care whether you won or lost. You still have to enter judgment on the record. So you have to this is a piece of paper where you ask the prothonotary to enter the judgment. So judgment's been made, but now it has to be entered. And you can't appeal unless it's been entered. Now, here's the other thing. Did you file the 10-day post-trial motion?
I did, but I retracted it. It wasn't a pretty picture. A lesson to be learned about seeking counsel is evident. Because
once you enter judgment on the record, the next step they're going to do is they're going to say, you didn't do the 10-day post-trial motion, and if you didn't do the 10-day post-trial motion, then you can't appeal either. There's a lot of work you got to do at the trial court level in a civil case in order to preserve your appeal.
Right, but let's say that the motion was to talk about things that weren't addressed in the record. I'm referring to things that were part of the record, part of the case. I'm not trying to add anything on to it. So you're saying I'm still out of luck?
Well, I mean, the answer is, what do you want? You want more money?
Yes.
Right. So what you do is what you're supposed to do is after the judge gives you the judgment, you write a post-trial motion saying, the judge, you were wrong, judge, and here's why you should have given me more money. Then the judge either grants or denies that post-trial motion, and then you appeal.
All right.
But if you didn't do the post-trial motion, you only had 10 days to do it, and you're already in the Superior Court, you can enter judgment on the record, which you need to do. So what you should have done was had a trial, gotten a verdict, filed within 10 days the necessary motions. After those were accepted or denied, then entered the judgment on the record, then appealed it.
Okay.
All right?
I appreciate that.
All right, my friend. All right, take care. All right. Bill Bennett, I still got you. I know that. Do I still have you, Bill? Bill.
Throw in a plug.
What's that?
Can I throw in a plug?
Yeah, throw in a plug. I want to let people know how to get in touch with you. Absolutely.
The York Builders Show is on this weekend at the Yachts Arena at the York Fairgrounds.
Is that where are you down there now?
We're down there. I'm going to be there from noon to about 6 today, and from 1 till close tomorrow. There will be any one of a number of us, about 8 people, that are public adjusters in the area that we're sharing a booth, and every one of them is qualified and competent to handle these types of problems.
So let me back this up for a second. If I understand you right, this afternoon or any basically, if somebody goes to the York Builders Show this weekend, which is now through tomorrow, they can find you or some of your colleagues at a booth of public adjusters. So if somebody's out there right now listening and they're going, I'm not sure if I have a claim, or I have a more specific question, or my roof just blew off, which probably didn't happen, but my pipes might have frozen, which happened everywhere. Those people could stop in and have a chit-chat with you and find out how it works, what they would need to do, and get some advice.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's at the York Fairgrounds. I don't know if everybody knows where that is, but that's pretty easy to find.
Yeah, anyone with internet access could just type it in the Google bar. I believe it's 334 Carlisle Road, York.
Well, you need to know, Bill, 84% of my listeners don't know what Google is. I have a very unusual demographic of listener, I sometimes swear.
Okay.
I always get somebody on there and I say, well, you can Google it. And they go, what's a Google? What's a Google? Is that like Yahoo? Okay. Well, you know what Yahoo is. Okay.
Yeah, basically, the internet has turned things around. If anyone has internet access and they can get onto a search engine, they can type in the words Clue Report, CLUE Report.
Okay.
And that will bring them to LexisNexis, and they'll start having to fill in information, their name, social security number, address, and the like. And what will happen is a report will pop up on all of their property, and any claims have been made, whether it's a home, a business, and auto goes in as well. So if you have speeding tickets on the record, that will pop up there. I can't get into anybody else's Clue report. Nobody can get into mine. But I can get into mine and see if there is any claims information on my home. Now, a lot of people say, well, I've never made a claim. A lot of those people have called their insurance agent and said, well, last night I talked to somebody that had called and asked if their power was out and their food in their freezer thawed, would that be covered? That's an innocent-sounding question, but with all the power outages that are going on now, that turned out to be accepted by the insurance company as filing a claim instead of an inquiry.
Now, help me out here, though. So what's this Clue report? It's like a history of my claims. What's going to happen? What's going to happen if somebody looks up my Clue report? Like, is it my next time I go buy insurance or something?
It is a reporting system that all the insurance companies have access to.
Okay.
If the agent documents the conversation and it's interpreted as a claim that doesn't get processed, it will show up as a line item on the Clue report, and in the far right-hand column, instead of a dollar amount, it will say CWP, which means closed without pay. It has the same impact on your insurance as if you had a total loss by fire. Yeah. They don't reference dollar amounts, it's how many claims. If you had a claims-free discount, and you called up asking about the contents of your freezer, you just lost your claims-free discount.
Now, I just want to remind people if they want to jump in and ask you a question, it's 243-1200, 243-1200. So 243-1200, where we got an 800 number, 866-532-9466. I'm going to go to break, Bill, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this public adjusting.
Thank you.
Celebrate President's Day with the freedom of choice at Rent-A-Center. Right now, you can take home name brand big screen smart LED TVs, washer and dryer pairs, even laptops and tablets. Your choice for one low price with no credit check. Hurry into Rent-A-Center now through February 22nd for the President's Day sale and get big brands for small payments with no credit check. Only at Rent-A-Center, where you're free to choose. Rental purchase lease transaction offer expires February 22nd, 2014. See store for details.
I had crunchy Belvita breakfast biscuits this morning. Then what did I do? Made my bed, fed my fish, got dressed, cleaned the dish, remembered to floss, but still didn't do it. Ran a lap on the track, dropped my phone, didn't crack, got in before the boss, made sure that he knew it. Just getting in, huh?
Crunchy Belvita breakfast biscuits are made with delicious ingredients and carefully baked to release steady energy all morning long. Share your morning win. Belvita.
Morning win.
For those Pennsylvanians with Medicare, are you having trouble paying for prescriptions or your Part B premium? It's free to find out if you're eligible for extra help or for the Medicare savings programs. To find out if you qualify for help with your prescriptions and Part B premium, call 1-800-783-7067 or visit aging.state.pa.us.
Sponsored by the Pennsylvania Department of Aging. Tom Corbett, Governor.
Are you stressed from helping a parent with a health crisis? Did Medicare just stop paying the $300 daily cost of nursing care? Do you know what can be done legally to share family assets without incurring financial liability for nursing care costs? Keystone Elder Law's compassionate staff includes a registered nurse and others trained in care coordination. We know how you feel to be sandwiched between the demands of your job, children's activities, and aging parents. We'll help you manage issues caused by Alzheimer's, strokes, chronic diseases, or orthopedic injuries. We'll help you get the best care and figure out how you can pay for it without your parents going broke or you becoming financially liable. Allow us to reduce your stress and help your family save money. Call us at 697-3223 for a free telephone consultation. There's a reason our phone number spells My Peace. Call 697-3223 today and tell us Country Gold sent you.
It's Motorama time. Coming to the Pennsylvania State Farm Show Complex February 15th and 16th. Enjoy live high-flying arena cross, midget, go-kart, and remote control racing. See hundreds of classic customs to modern-day tuners in the Rod Custom and Tuner Show. See dirt track, off-road, and drag racing vehicles in the Speed Show. Shop at more than 100 vendors supplying the latest in motorsport gear, accessories, and collectibles. Don't miss the 40 beautiful ladies competing for the title of Miss Motorama. Meet wrestling greats Andrew Anderson, Greg Valentine, Ron Simmons, and Tito Santana. Meet pastime host Brett Wagner. Take a seat in the Back to the Future DeLorean, the Batmobile, and the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. Showtimes Saturday morning 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. in the evening, and Sunday 9 till 5. It's all waiting for you at Motorama 2014. Over 1 million square feet of indoor motorsports action, all for one low admission price. Again, coming your way February 15th and the 16th. For more information, go to MotoramaEvents.com. Brought to you in part by the United States Air Force.
Hey, we're talking to Bill Bennett, Public Adjuster. He's down at the York Builders Show and will be there all weekend, or at least him and his colleagues will be. And we've got somebody from Perry County, from Shermansdale, Barb.
Yes.
You have a question for me or Bill?
Well, I wanted to say, we had a fire a couple of years ago, and it destroyed my kitchen.
Right.
And the next day, the insurance adjuster came to the house with a restoration guy and looked at the house and stuff. And we did not know that we could pick our own restoration guy, that we had to go with him. We thought we had to go with that company.
Right. And
it wasn't the greatest company. It did some stuff wrong. And luckily, a coffee pot is what exploded and caused the fire. And my family always calls me a rat pack. But I was able to go into my files, get the book for that coffee pot, the exact date I bought it and where I bought it. So they were able to go back against the company that made the coffee pot. But the insurance, the restoration guys ruined the carpeting and stuff in all my bedrooms. Paint, they put paint on varnish and everything else. And we told them we needed it repaired. And the two of them, the adjuster and the restoration guy, got together and they said, well, we'll give you this much for the carpeting. Well, my doctor told me, you cannot put carpeting in there. There's 3 of us that are bad asthmatics. So we did it with the vinyl laminate that we did through the rest of the house. And they would not pay for that. They wanted an astronomical amount. So I had another company come in and do the same thing.
And the
question, they would only pay.
And the question,
they would only pay for what they said the carpet was worth.
So
not
now,
for the work.
It's okay. Let me ask a question. What is your question then for Bill? What do you want to know?
Well, I know they wouldn't pay for the flooring to be put down in those extra bedrooms, even though they are the ones who ruined my carpeting.
Right.
They said if I put new carpet in, they would have done it, but they didn't have to do the others.
Right. The insurance is intended to bring the property back to prior to loss condition. It doesn't cover homeowner upgrades, but the question, when you have smoke in a home, typically the carpets have to be replaced anyway because smoke goes everywhere, and you cannot clean the carpets of smoke around the base of the where the wall meets the floor. There's about a 1/4 inch gap that physically cannot be cleaned by any machine that's currently out there. Prior to loss condition would require new carpets of the same type and grade of what you had. The question would come in, what was the value of that? And if you don't know, they're going to give you an offer, and then if you choose to put down a laminate floor of a higher grade or a higher cost per square foot, then that difference would be on you. You should be able to replace carpet with laminate reasonably close in price, and it shouldn't have been an issue. That's the type of thing that we run into frequently is what's the grade, what's the type. Often the homeowner doesn't have records. The carpet may have been there when they bought the home. There are very detailed, accurate labs that physically test materials. They can come back and tell us what lot number it came out of, so we can get an accurate value on it. That's part of what we do.
Okay. They told us what it was worth, but we disagreed with them because we had just replaced the carpet in the one bedroom, and they were giving us less for that carpet, and it was an upper grade carpet. But, you know.
Well, here's the answer. I guess you were under the misimpression that you had to handle all this on your own, and if you had known about Bill Bennett and guys like him, you probably should have talked to him first, and you probably will next time, right?
Right, and the other thing is I did not let them tell me what they would give me for my kitchen things. I did have pictures, and everything that was in my pantry was not salvageable, but still readable. I listed every single thing, and then I went to the grocery store to find out how much it cost to replace it.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of... Well, go ahead.
They weren't happy with me. They said, that's not how you do it. And I said, no, replacement cost means I get to replace exactly what I lost.
Well,
and so they did.
Well, Barb, actually, there's two kinds of insurance, right? Bill, there's replacement and there's what?
Yeah, it's actual cash value, and most homeowner policies cover replacement costs on structure and actual cash value on contents. And the difference between the two is anything that you would put into a moving truck and move out is typically considered contents. Anything that would stay when you move out is structure. So carpeting on the floor is structure. dishes in the pantry or contents, you can get an upgrade from actual cash value, which is a depreciated amount, to replacement costs on contents. That's a phone call to the insurance agent and ask him how much would it cost to do this, and then decide is it worth it. Most companies, even on the structure, pay out initially actual cash value. So they pay a depreciated amount. After you get the work done, they will give you a check for the difference between what they gave you in the first place and what you actually spent. That can get kind of dicey at times. If you have a $50,000 loss and they give you a $30,000 check, you have to finish the repairs before they'll give you that difference of $20,000. A lot of times we can help negotiate that and get the money freed up a little bit quicker so you don't have to take the loan out.
Okay.
That's one of the little details that we go over. When we do a policy evaluation in the home, that's the type of thing we look for. Do you have actual cash value? Do you have replacement costs? And we leave you with a written list of recommendations of not only what to talk to your insurance agent about, but how to, so you don't file a claim accidentally.
All right, Barb, thank you. I got to get back here with Bill for a minute here and finish a few things up, so we're going to let you go.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bill, Barb's going to disappear here pretty shortly, but long story short, if people wanted to call you, your number, because they may not want to come meet you this weekend at the York Fairgrounds, which they could do in person, but if they didn't want to just call you because they can't get down there, what number should they call?
717-318-8461.
318
8461.
Okay, 318-8461. I'd like to repeat it a couple times just because I know how this goes when people are trying to jot a number down quick. Now, I bought a bunch of cigars at Harrisburg Beer and Cigar recently over on Union Deposit in Harrisburg. They got a great walk-in humidor. And they've all burned up in a series of tiny fires, and I was wondering if you could help me make some claims.
Would be deductible, and it was intentional. The cause of the fire was arson. That would be fraudulent. We both go to jail.
There's an old joke about that. The guy who insures his cigars and makes the claim, and then goes to this it's like one of these old wives' tale stories or urban legends. I think about the guy who buys the rare cigars and then insures them, and then makes the claim that they burn up in a series of tiny fires. But actually, I don't know I don't remember if you're a cigar smoker or not, but Harrisburg Beer and Cigar is really a great place to go. And they kindly furnish me with some cigars from time to time, but I also just go over there because they've got a great lounge and a great group of guys. I have my son this weekend, otherwise I might be over there this afternoon. But any typical Saturday afternoon, you might find me over there smoking a cigar. Bill, what else should people... We got a minute left, maybe. Anything you want to tell people that stick in their heads, like that lady, should she not feel why should she feel pressured? Should people need to know they're not pressured to solve a claim the same day, right?
Yeah, people get emotional. It's their home, and there's a lot attached to that. When I get involved, I tend to take the emotion out of it. This is a business transaction. There is no rush. It's going to take time to process the policy. If you settle for the check that they hand you immediately, it's going to be a lot less than what it should be. If you have a fire, there are many, many steps involved. You've never handled it before. I have. I know what the steps are, what the processes are. I know which mitigation companies are good to work with and which ones aren't. I've thrown mitigation companies off the job. The homeowner signed a contract at the fire scene, and I walked in a couple of days later and canceled the contract. Got rid of them because they weren't doing things properly. They were throwing away contents. And once it's thrown away, it didn't exist. So they're costing the homeowners tens of thousands of dollars.
And I am out I am out of time. Thank you again, Bill Bennett. We'll be back next week. All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
That's it. How much time I got? 1 minute? 2 seconds? Dead. Done.